January 6, 1977, Palm Springs, California. 4:47 p.m. Frank Sinatra's phone rings. He's at his compound, reading the newspaper, glass of Jack Daniels on the table. Quiet afternoon. He picks up. Yeah? It's his assistant. Voice shaking. Frank, there's been an accident. Sinatra sits up. What kind of accident? A plane. A chartered Learjet. It went down in the San Bernardino Mountains. Who was on it? Silence. Then, your mother. The glass slips from Sinatra's hand. Doesn't shatter. Just tips over. Whiskey spreads across the table. What do you mean, my mother? Dolly was flying back from Vegas. The pilot lost visibility in the storm. They crashed into Mount San Gorgonio. There are no survivors. Sinatra stands. Doesn't speak. Just stands there. Phone still to his ear. Frank, did you hear me? Yeah, I heard you. The authorities need someone to identify. Sinatra hangs up, sits back down, stares at the wall. His wife, Barbara, walks in, sees his face. Frank, what happened? He doesn't look at her. My mother's dead. What? Plane crash. They need me to identify the body. Barbara sits next to him, puts her hand on his. Oh my God. Frank, I'm so sorry. He pulls his hand away. I need to go. Now? Frank, you should wait. Let the shock. I said I need to go. He stands, grabs his coat, walks out the door. 2 hours later, Sinatra's at the morgue in San Bernardino. Sheriff's deputies escort him down a cold hallway. Fluorescent lights, linoleum floors, the smell of antiseptic. They stop at a door. The coroner steps out. Mr. Sinatra, I need to warn you. The crash was severe. The body is... Just show me. The coroner nods. Opens the door, pulls back the sheet. Sinatra looks. Doesn't react. Doesn't cry. Doesn't flinch. Just stares. Is this Natalie Dolly Sinatra? Yeah, that's her. I'm very sorry for your loss. Sinatra doesn't respond. He's still staring at her face. What's left of it. His mother, the woman who raised him, who pushed him into music, who fought every battle for him when he was too young to fight his own. The coroner covers her again. We'll need you to sign some papers. Sinatra turns, walks out, doesn't sign anything, just walks. Outside, his driver's waiting. Mr. Sinatra? Where to? Drive? Where? Anywhere, just drive. They drive for 3 hours, through the desert, past Joshua trees and empty highways. Sinatra doesn't speak, doesn't cry, just stares out the window. Finally, the driver pulls over. Mr. Sinatra, we should head back. Sinatra looks at him. You ever lose your mother? No, sir. Then you don't know what you're talking about. He gets out of the car, walks into the desert, stands there, under the stars, alone. And for the first time in his life, Frank Sinatra has no idea what to do next. The funeral is massive. January 10th, 1977. Cathedral City, California. Every major figure in Hollywood shows up. Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Gregory Peck, Kirk Douglas. The church is packed. Frank Sinatra sits in the front row. Sunglasses on, black suit. Barbara next to him. He hasn't cried. Not once. Not at the morgue. Not at home. Not now. The priest delivers the eulogy. Dolly Sinatra was a force of nature, a woman who loved fiercely and lived boldly. Dean leans over to Sammy, whispers. He hasn't said a word, not since it happened. Sammy nods. That's how Frank grieves. He goes silent. That's not healthy. Neither is throwing glasses, but that's Frank. After the service, people line up to pay respects. One by one, they approach Frank. I'm so sorry for your loss. She was an incredible woman. If you need anything, Frank nods, shakes hands, says nothing, just nods. Dean's the last one. He doesn't offer condolences, just puts his hand on Frank's shoulder. You need to talk, I'm here. Frank looks up. There's nothing to talk about. Frank. She's gone, Dean. Talking won't bring her back. Dean sits next to him. Everyone else has left. It's just the two of them in the empty church. You remember what you told me when my son died? Frank's jaw tightens. Dean, don't. You told me grief doesn't go away. You just learn to carry it, and you can't carry it alone. I'm not alone. Yes, you are. Barbara's worried. I'm worried. Everyone's worried. Because you're not processing this. You're just shutting down. Frank stands. I said there's nothing to talk about. He walks out. That night, Frank's at home, alone. Barbara's asleep. He's in his study. Bottle of Jack Daniels, half empty. He pours another glass, drinks it, pours another. The phone rings. He ignores it. Rings again and again. Finally, he picks up. What? It's his daughter, Nancy. Dad, I've been calling all day. I know. Why didn't you answer? Because I didn't want to talk. Dad, we need to talk about Grandma, the estate, the arrangements. Handle it. Handle it. Dad, this is your mother. I know it's my mother. He's yelling now. First time since the crash. You think I don't know? You think I haven't been thinking about her every second since that call? Nancy's quiet. Then talk to me. Please, don't shut us out. Frank's voice cracks. I can't. Why not? Because if I start talking about her, I won't stop. And if I don't stop, I'll fall apart. And I can't fall apart, Nancy. Not now. Not ever. Dad? He hangs up, sets the phone down, stares at the bottle. Then he does something he hasn't done since he was a kid. He picks up a pen and starts writing. Not a song, not a letter, just words. Stream of consciousness. Everything he's feeling. Everything he can't say out loud. She was the only one who ever stood up to me. The only one who told me the truth, even when I didn't want to hear it. Especially when I didn't want to hear it. He writes for 2 hours, fills 10 pages, then rips them up, burns them in the fireplace. Because Frank Sinatra doesn't do vulnerable. Not on paper, not out loud, not ever. 3 weeks later, Sinatra's back on stage, Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, sold-out show. The audience doesn't know what to expect. Will he mention it? Will he break down? He walks out. The crowd erupts, standing ovation. Not for the show. For him. For surviving. He stands at the microphone, waits for silence. Then, thank you for being here. That's it. No mention of Dolly, no tribute, no emotion. He just starts singing. I've got you under my skin. Backstage, his band members exchange looks. The conductor, Vincent Falcone, shakes his head. He's not okay. The drummer agrees. He's going through the motions. And he is. Every note is perfect. Every word clear. But there's no soul. It's mechanical. Like he's performing a job, not living a moment. Halfway through the show, he stops. Middle of One for My Baby. Just stops singing. Stares at the audience. 20 seconds of silence. The band doesn't know what to do. Keep playing? Stop? Then Sinatra speaks. My mother died 3 weeks ago. The room goes dead quiet. Plane crash. She was 82, tough as nails, survived everything life threw at her, except that mountain. He takes a breath. I'm telling you this because I don't want your pity. I don't want your sympathy. I just want you to know why tonight feels different. Because it does. Everything feels different now. Someone in the audience yells, "We love you, Frank." He nods. I know, and I appreciate it. But love doesn't fix this. Nothing fixes this. He finishes the song, but his voice cracks on the last line. So make it one for my baby, and one more for the road. The audience doesn't applaud. They just sit there, stunned, because Frank Sinatra just showed them something he never shows anyone. Vulnerability. After the show, Dean Martin's waiting in the dressing room. Frank, that was... Don't. You broke character out there. I know. You told them about Dolly. I know. Dean sits. So what changed? 3 weeks ago, you wouldn't talk about it. Now you're telling strangers. Sinatra lights a cigarette. Because strangers don't ask questions. They just listen. And tonight, I needed someone to listen. I've been trying to listen for 3 weeks. You're not a stranger, Dean. You're family. And family wants me to process, to heal, to move on. I can't do that with you watching. Dean stands. So you're just going to pretend you're fine? Until when? Until I actually am. And if that never happens? Sinatra exhales smoke. Then I guess I'll keep pretending. Dean walks to the door. Stops. You know what Dolly would say if she heard you right now? What? She'd tell you to stop being a stubborn idiot and let people help you. Sinatra almost smiles. Yeah, she would. So why don't you? Because she's not here to make me. Dean leaves, and Frank sits alone in his dressing room, surrounded by flowers, condolence cards, messages from fans. But the only voice he wants to hear is the one that's gone, his mother's, telling him to get up, stop wallowing, keep moving. But she's not here. And for the first time in his life, Frank Sinatra doesn't know how to keep moving without her. But here's what nobody knew. The real reason Dolly was on that plane. She was flying back from Vegas. But why was she there? Frank had asked her to come, to his show, to watch him perform. One last time before she got too old to travel. She said no, she was tired. The weather was bad. She'd seen him perform 1,000 times. Frank pushed. Ma, come on, one more show. For me. She finally agreed. Fine, but you're paying for the plane. Deal. That was their last conversation, 3 days before the crash. After she died, Frank found the phone records, saw his own number, the call he made, the call that convinced her to get on that plane. That's the guilt that's eating him alive. Not just that she's gone, but that he's the reason she was there. Dean doesn't know this. Barbara doesn't know this. Nobody knows this. Because Frank won't talk about it. But one night, 6 months after the crash, Frank's drunk, really drunk, and he tells his pianist, Bill Miller, the truth. I killed her. Bill stops playing. What? I killed my mother. I put her on that plane. Frank, that's not. I begged her to come. She didn't want to, but I pushed, and she got on that plane because of me. Bill sits next to him. Frank, it was an accident. The storm, the pilot. None of that was your fault. But she wouldn't have been there if I hadn't asked. You can't think like that. You'll drive yourself crazy. Frank looks at him, eyes red. I'm already crazy, Bill. I've been crazy since that phone call. Bill doesn't know what to say, so he just sits there, with Frank, in silence. After a while, Frank speaks again. You know what the worst part is? What? I never told her I was sorry, for all the times I let her down, for all the times I was too busy, too famous, too important to call. She knew you loved her. Knowing and hearing are different things, and now she'll never hear it. Frank stands, walks to the piano, sits down, plays a few notes, then stops. I can't even play her favorite song anymore, because every time I try, I see her face, and I can't handle it. Bill puts his hand on Frank's shoulder. Then don't play it. Not yet. Maybe someday. Frank nods. Yeah, maybe someday. But someday never comes. Frank Sinatra never spoke about Dolly publicly again. Not in interviews, not in concerts, not even to close friends. When reporters asked, he'd say, "Next question." When biographers pushed, he'd walk away. When his own children brought her up, he'd change the subject. The only time he came close was 1993. 16 years after the crash, he's giving an interview. rare. The reporter asks about his biggest regret. Sinatra pauses. Long pause. Then, I have many regrets, but there's one I carry every day. What is it? I can't tell you. Why not? Because saying it out loud makes it real, and I'm not ready for it to be real. The reporter doesn't push, just moves on. But everyone who knew Frank understood. He was talking about Dolly. May 1998. Frank Sinatra dies. Heart attack. 82 years old. The same age his mother was when she died. At his funeral, his daughter Nancy reads a letter, found in his desk drawer, sealed, never sent. Dear Ma, I'm sorry for everything, for not calling enough, for being too proud, for putting you on that plane. I know you'd tell me to stop apologizing, to stop living in the past, but I can't, because you are the only person who ever truly knew me, the good, the bad, the weak parts I hid from everyone else, and now you're gone, and I don't know how to be me without you watching. I love you. I'm sorry. Your son, Frank. The church is silent. Nancy's crying. So is Barbara. So is everyone. Because Frank Sinatra, the man who never showed weakness, just admitted he was broken, and had been broken for 20 years. After the funeral, Dean Martin tells a reporter, Frank died in 1998, but part of him died in 1977, on that mountain, with his mother. January 6th, 1977. The day Dolly Sinatra died, the day Frank Sinatra stopped being invincible, the day the world lost the woman who created a legend, and the day Frank lost the only person who ever stood up to him. He never recovered. He just learned to pretend he had. And maybe that's the most tragic part of all, because Frank Sinatra could survive anything except losing his mother, and he spent the last 20 years of his life proving it.